Well, here we are in the Bronx Zoo, here in the Bronx, South Bronx in particular. And we have Mr. Wujek here today.
Hey.
What's going on?
Not much. Just found out my nice little toll bill last night when I got rooted into Jersey, which that was not exactly pleasant.
Well, you're here now and we're about to go to the Bronx Zoo. And of course, Britt's here.
Hi.
Hi. So here we are at the Bronx Zoo. We're gonna kick off the day. The very first exhibit we saw at the Bronx Zoo that day was the birds of prey. For some strange reason, we ended up starting off at the birds of prey, which is normally what we don't do, but on this particular day, we ended up doing so. We ended up going from birds of prey to aquatic birds. What's with this theme of birds all of a sudden? I don't get it. But then again, we did see some vultures, some eagles, and stuff like that. But it was amazing, though. It's not a very long exhibit, but if you have the time while you're on your trip to the Bronx Zoo, check out the birds of prey. Next up, the aquatic bird aviary. Similar to birds of prey, aquatic bird aviary is pretty big. It has a bigger environment, but the birds are much, much smaller. And of course, you can't say aquatic birds without mentioning puffins or penguins, as you can see here. But don't worry, that's not the only viewing you're gonna see. We found a frogmouth, but no kiwi, unfortunately. We couldn't find it. Remember how I said this was an aquatic bird aviary? Well, check this out. Ta-da! It's an outdoor dome. I also said a while ago this wasn't the only viewing of penguins you'll see. Look at that. More penguins. Gotta love them. Up next was North America, quote unquote, because there's only one animal in this exhibit, the bison. Next up is Brittany's personal favorite exhibit in the Bronx Zoo, the world of birds. When you go into a house full of birds, you don't expect to see monkeys in an exhibit with birds, but for some reason we ended up doing so. As you can see, there are many different species of birds all across the globe here at the world of birds at the Bronx Zoo, from macaws to more parrots, toucans, etc. All walks of life, honestly. It's beautiful. Two things I must mention. One, the world of birds is 4 floors, so there's plenty of animals to see. And two, when you get towards the end of the building, there's a nursery where you can check these guys out. Now we're getting to the good parts. My personal favorite is right here. This is Tiger Mountain. Every time I go to the Bronx Zoo, I always look forward to going to Tiger Mountain, considering tigers are my favorite animals. I should mention, after seeing the tigers, we went over to see some turtles and some doles and then some cranes, but then afterwards we went over to Jungle World and the monorail, which was the next part of the day. Another cool part of the zoo is the Bengali Express monorail and Jungle World, but we're going on the monorail first. The monorail takes us through different countries such as India, China, Thailand, Nepal, etc. All these animals in these parts of the world, specifically in Asia, are all right here in the monorail, including the Mongolian wild horse. So the Asian elephant, the Indian rhinoceros, and the red panda are all on the monorail ride, and the ride itself is about 20 minutes long. After the monorail was our next stop, Jungle World. The first animal was a tree kangaroo, and look at Mama with her baby. That is freaking adorable. Of course, otters. Listen to the waterfall. The leopard was unfortunately not there, but we did find the tapirs, and we found the gibbon that always sits in the front. These guys right here are called gharials. In case you're wondering, these are not crocodiles. This is a completely different species. We then sat down next to a bunch of camels for lunch, and then we went over to the African Trail. Next up, the African Trail. The African Trails is by far the largest exhibit at the Bronx Zoo. The variety of animals that this exhibit has is extraordinary, from lions, giraffes, gazelles, hyraxes, geladas, and even the Congo gorillivores, which I'm going to be taking you there shortly. African wild dogs, hyenas, mongooses, aardvarks, you name it. They are all here as residents at the Bronx Zoo.
Any living mammal.
Just taking it all in on its own is pretty extraordinary, especially within the African trails with all the variety of animals they have. Coming up as promised, the Congo gorilla forest. Not many zoos in the country have okapis, so I might as well show you what they have. The presentation of the Congo gorilla forest by the Bronx Zoo is one of the best exhibits I've seen for a gorilla in the country. Now, I've seen the St. Louis Zoo, I've seen the Cincinnati Zoo, but they don't come close to. The Bronx Zoo goes bananas, no pun intended, goes bananas for gorillas, legitimately. Usually there's 3 at a zoo wherever I go, but here there's at least 30 of them, and it's like one big family, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. Halfway through our day, we went to the mouse house. As you can see, there are plenty of rodents in this house. We were probably in there for about maybe 10 minutes or so, just exploring the house and just looking at all the exhibits. Immediately after the mouse house, we went over to the butterfly house, and there's a lot to see here. There's macaws, tortoises, and of course butterflies, monarchs in specific. Take all the pretty pictures you would like, but do not touch anything. There were also koi fish, this tortoise of course, and macaws. Why are macaws here? They should be at the world of birds. Next up was the reptile house. Considering I used to be a snake owner, I always admired snakes. But of course I like other reptiles as well, like crocodiles and anacondas and things like that. That's just something in me I miss. Normally the crocs don't move, but here today they certainly did. I've always admired the reptile house considering how many different species of reptiles they have here, such as Gila monsters, cobras, turtles, etc. They're all different, and they're all unique on their own. I ended up finding 3, count that, 3 different Komodo dragons at the Bronx Zoo, including one in the reptile house. The reptile house concluded with blue iguanas, gharials, and another species of lizard I've probably never heard of in my life. Next up was the Zoo Center. The Zoo Center is the most iconic building at the zoo, but it's also home to a second Komodo dragon and other reptiles as well. There's another resident at the Zoo Center, but I'm going to show you that now. If you go outside the Zoo Center and you just make a left, you'll find white rhinos, one of the most critically endangered species of animals on the planet. You'll also find a Galapagos tortoise, who is 100 years old, and the 3rd Komodo dragon. Our second to last visit is going to be Madagascar. You'll find lemurs, hissing cockroaches, mongooses, and of course, the Fusa from the movie here at Madagascar. One exhibit left, and it was at the Zoo Center, and that is of course, the sea lions. So, that was our day at the Bronx Zoo. Did you guys have fun?
Yes.
You had fun, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Britt, how did you feel? Good? Sweet. So we're about to get out of here, get out of the Bronx, and head back to Long Island. Shouldn't take us too long, but I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and we truly appreciate it. And then tomorrow we have something else in store for you guys. See you in a bit.